Thanks, Thomas. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Thank you all for being here today to chat with me and Rod about Popdock from eOne Solutions. So I know that most of everyone on this call is a GP user, so you've probably heard of eOne at some point. We have a lot of GP-centric products like SmartList Builder and Extender, but you might know us mostly as the integration people. So eOne has multiple integration products, and we're going to talk to you today about one called Popdock. So we talk about integration differently than most integration services do. We break it up into traditional and virtual, looking at integration as a spectrum. So what does that mean for you all here today? One, we have a product called Smart Connect, and that is our traditional integration tool. Smart Connect allows you to take data from one system, manipulate it or transform it, run that in an automated fashion, and create that data in another system. Popdock is on the complete other opposite end of the integration spectrum, and it is a virtual integration tool, which means we can share data meaningfully with other users. We can gather data from multiple different systems and put it exactly where those users need to work without actually having to create any integration mappings and putting it exactly where the users need with no code needed. So we'll see what that looks like today in the demo. But before we jump into the product, I want to go over some key features of Popdock and how they relate to that virtual integration. First and foremost, Popdock is an end user query engine. If you are familiar with SmartList Builder or SmartView, Popdock's going to feel really familiar to you because we're able to aggregate data from multiple different systems, including GP, and pull it all together for you to sort, filter, query, and share those lists of data with. It is real-time data display. Everything you're going to see here today is real-time, and it's not using a data warehouse. We can work with data warehouses, but Popdock doesn't need to out of the box because everything is live all of the time so that that data is up to date and meaningful for your users. Popdock works with all your data. So where you might be most familiar with SmartList Builder, working with your GP information only, Popdock is a cloud-based application that allows you to work with every single piece of data in your organization. Think way outside of Microsoft and outside of the finance spectrum as well. If you've got CRM systems, marketing systems, anything SQL Server based, if you're working with help desk solutions and human resource management systems that have a REST API, Popdock can gather all of that data for you as well and report on it. We can also embed that data anywhere. You'll see this in the demo today, and it's really the most exciting part of Popdock is that we can put the data anywhere your users want to see it. That's where we get into that virtual integration area where we're not having to create any code or any complicated integration mappings to do that. We're simply building our list of data and putting it where the users need it. We can also do this with historical information. So if you've been migrating from other systems or have legacy information that you'd like to display for users to be able to grab and work with, we can do that as well. Now, I know that we're all GP users here today, but I think it's worth mentioning that Popdock also acts as SmartList Builder for Business Central and has all of these capabilities for Business Central as well. I know it's something a lot of people are thinking about and something that Turnkey works with as well. So we wanted you to be aware that we have those capabilities and we already have a lot of out of the box reporting and lists built out for Business Central if it's something you're looking into in the future. So with that, we'll get into the demo. I think we can put questions in the chat box if you have those. I'll keep an eye on them while we go through everything because I believe we're all muted. So go ahead and put those in there and please ask questions.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone, and welcome today. Thank you all for attending. Um, Today, I'm going to be focusing on some GP features of Popdock, or some way that Popdock can be used within your GP environment. There's a lot more that I could show you, so we do have other things available here, but I do want to focus just on kind of some GP centric stuff. I want to touch a wee bit on that VC that Mary mentioned earlier. So I'm looking at my Popdock dashboard right now. Hopefully you all are as well. And I just wanted to jump straight into a list. You can see here we do have some light visualizations available within Popdock. Um, but those are really just there to kind of pretty up your dashboard a little bit. And you'll see later on we can use them in something that we call details. I want to jump straight to a customers list. I'm pulling this data directly from Dynamics GP. Okay, and I want to draw your attention to both the similarities and the improvements to what you've seen from SmartList in the past. I grew up in the GP space. I don't know how many of you maybe have heard me speak before. I love SmartList. I think it's one of the best inventions in the mid-market ERP space. And there's a lot of, well, there's no other solution that has anything quite like a SmartList. So when we took that and kind of blew that out to this PopDoc thing, I was really excited to see it. So from a similarity standpoint, we do have obviously all of our tabular data here. That really is our bailiwick. We have the ability to quickly add and remove columns. So I can, click those three. If it was a terrible mistake, I can get rid of them simply by clicking on these ellipses and get rid of those last three columns. Now, what I want you to notice is some of the streamlining we did there. So there's a lot less mouse clicks to be adding those columns. I still have the ability to have favorites, for example, where I can drop down and maybe switch over straight to a collections list, which is pre-filtered. Those favorites, just like in Smart List, I can start sharing with other users throughout my organization. Okay. I do have the ability to filter just like I'm used to. So when Mary talks about this as a user-driven query tool, all of that power that we had from Smart List is still here. Now, again, to get rid of some GPTSD that you might have, I do have way more than 4 filters available. So you guys can put in as many as you need, as many as your heart uh, desires, and we can start mixing and matching our ands and ors. Okay, so we can actually start to build some really meaningful queries here. I know a lot of folks over the years have had that fifth thing that they want to put in, or a little bit of complexity around the I need this and this, or this and this. And the answer every time has been go to IT, have them build a SQL query for us, and then expose that through Smart List Builder into GP as a Smart List. Well, that's gone now. You have the power to build those complex queries, but you still have all of the power that you had before. So if I chose a date, for example, okay, I've got all the same operators that I had before, and I do have the ability to, just as before, have my hard-coded dates, or I can use my compare fields and get out there and get some power. Now, again, minor improvement. I'm a big mouse click person. Every mouse click to me is just a few seconds more added to my year. So I can go through and do something like the date equals this year, and now I've got a year to date report. So I don't have to do the between start of year and today anymore. Again, just a few more mouse clicks back in your pocket. Okay, exporting. For those of you who do the export, maybe from SmartList, you're used to clicking export, going and getting a cup of coffee, go have a meeting with your boss, and then come back and hopefully that Excel file has been created. Here it's much quicker. We're downloading entire data sets as opposed to each record at a time, but you're also going to end up with an actual table in Excel as opposed to just a simple workbook. Okay. Now, one other thing that you guys aren't quite used to, every list within a solution that is multi-company like GP, you can have multi-company reports, right? So when I come in here, this list is automatically, you can see I've got some records coming from the 4 Iron Foundry and Fabricam, all within my first 100 records. And all I had to do was drop this down. You'll see a little bit later on, there are 0 lines of code to make this happen. Again, traditionally with Smart List in GP, to get a multi-company list, I would have to go to IT, build a SQL Server view, which was a union of all the companies together, and then expose that through Smart List into my Dynamics GP. Okay, but here, just the click of a mouse. So I guess we added back some mouse clicks, but they're good ones. Okay, now, again, one of the more powerful features of Smart List is go-tos. So I can go from a smart list, drill into another smart list. I can go to other places within GP. We took that concept in Popdock and blew it out into two different features. One we call details and the other we call actions. I want to show you details now. We'll come back to actions in a bit. Okay, so details are all of these little carrots you see around the outside. Okay, so I can have, the simple things that I would expect, like all of the sales transactions coming from my accounting solution. I can take a look at, excuse me, I can take a look at their receivables transactions. I can drill through and see their outstanding balance. But I can also do things like take a look at what opportunities exist in my CRM for these customers. Okay, so I can see that we've got one here, and we can see, again, this is pulling from my CRM. And when I say my CRM, this could be Salesforce, this could be Microsoft CRM, this could be Zoho, this could be MailChimp, whatever it is for you that you're using, this data is coming in as related. Okay, I've also got these tickets coming in here, which are coming from my online help desk solution. This one happens to be Zendesk, but for you, maybe it's Freshdesk, or maybe it's some field service management solution or a fleet management solution. I don't know what your solutions are out there, but this one is a web-based solution. And that's the key point here is we have a relationship between our accounting data and this web-based solution, and I'm able to bring in details into this one spot. So I'm mixing and matching data from all over the place. I can even go so far as to have, a call out to a simple web service like Google Maps here, right? And I've got all that functionality available to me. And again, all of this took 0 lines of code for me to achieve. I'll show you the different spots where we can do that. Now, Mary mentioned something earlier that maybe is, well, it is entirely new to you, and that's the concept of embedding my data in other solutions. Okay, so I'm going to start out with something simple. We're all in Teams right now. I'm assuming we're all Teams users, and I want to show you some of this data embedded, right? So here's that collections list that I was talking about earlier. Okay, and here you can see I've got all of my same data. I've got the ability to have my details down here that I can look at. I have all of my filter ability here, okay, to add as many filters as I need to within here. All of that is available to me and is fully embedded here in Teams. Okay, so it's not just that we're taking your data and we're putting it in another solution. We're full on embedding your Popdock widget inside of another solution. Okay, again, we've got that concept of Zendesk tickets here. And now I can talk a little bit about those details, or not details, I can talk about those actions that I mentioned earlier. So here I've got, a list of tickets within my teams. Now, just so you guys know, this is actually a real life use case that I'm showing you right now. We have lots of customers who do run Zendesk, and whenever they've got escalation engineers, they really don't want, a lot of escalation engineers don't want to get into the help desk solution. So we've got this widget here where we kind of trick them. So they have the ability to come in and look at the ticket. They can look at the comments associated with the ticket. You can see all the details around the outside where they can get all the information about this ticket. But they can also right click on it and do things like add a comment, right? So now I can enter this comment and go ahead and save that. And it's going to push that, in this case, through the REST API into the solution. You know, you guys, maybe you're not Zendesk users, but maybe you've got other online applications. I mean, it's growing and growing the number of single purpose apps that we use. I'm going to show you in a couple minutes about 60 connectors that are all, some of them are ERP, some of them are CRM, but many of them are not within that spectrum. Okay, so in this case, I'm pushing it through. I could have actions here that, for example, open up this ticket. We could have it kick off a Smart Connect process. I'm sure some of you are Smart Connect users as well. So if this ticket was ready to be invoiced, I can go ahead and kick off a Smart Connect process to generate that invoice in GP. Some of you may be Power Automate users as well. If I wanted to create SharePoint files or send a text message to this customer, I could do that here or using a Power Automate process, which I can kick off as well. So you have a ton of flexibility with these actions, and now you're building almost entire solutions. Okay. Now, just so you guys know, oh, widgets don't only go in Teams. Here's that same widget again, this time embedded in SharePoint. Now, I could show you these widgets inside of CRM, inside of Salesforce, inside, I could go all day and just show you widgets. But what I'm hoping you're taking from all of this is all of those same things I've been showing you. You know, here inside my SharePoint, I can get a quick, here's one of those light visualizations I talked about earlier. I can get as much information as I need about this customer, and I don't have to go into any of the solutions associated. Think about this particular widget that's embedded in CRM. I'm showing you Dynamics GP data blended with online help desk data, blended with my CRM data, and I'm not logged into any of those solutions, and I don't have a complex integration between any of those solutions to move the data around. This is simply pulling my data together into one spot where my users can access it. That's pretty cool. Now, I mentioned, and Mary has mentioned BC. I know this is a GP focused one. I understand that some people are talking about or considering or thinking about or questioning a move to Business Central. I do like to show one more version of the widget just to kind of get us in there. Here I am. I've got Aaron Fitz that we've brought into. Hopefully, you guys have seen Aaron Fitz over the years, very popular in the GP space. We've brought our Aaron Fitz into Business Central. And here we've got another Popdock widget. So you can see every time Skippy skips here, which is another thing that Mary talked about earlier, is every time Skippy skipping, that's a real-time reach into whatever my data source is. Okay, but what we're showing you here is actually Business Central data. Okay, so ongoing sales data from BC combined with historical data coming from Dynamics GP. So not only can we have details that are pulling from another solution, we can actually mix and match our data between multiple solutions. So if you are considering a move to Business Central, you don't have to either give up your history, keep your history separate, or pay to have it imported into Business Central, which almost never works. You can start to mix and match this data right here in Business Central, so your end users would never know the difference. So don't just think about sales. I know I tend to focus on, most of my demos are focused around sales transactions, but, think about lot or serial number history. If you're in any kind of production industry that's food related, you need to maintain that lot history for quite a while. You can have that and not have to import the data, or even worse, export the data to a couple of Excel workbooks and trust somebody to come in on Friday night and complete that before a recall has to happen. Okay. That is something that interests you. We do have lots of opportunity for you to learn about that. But I'm going to move back towards the GP centric type stuff. So what I've been showing you so far would be equivalent to a smart list experience. I like to call it smart list on gamma radiation because, we took the same bones and muscles that started out on the original smart list, greatly expanded them, greatly extended them, and gave them some superpowers. Now I want to talk about the more smart list builder type features of Popdock because this really is a blend of three products when we talk about this. Two that you know for sure, Smart List Builder and Smart List, and then Smart View, which is one of our other products, which was, well, Smart List on steroids originally. All right, so I'm going to jump into connectors. That's where everything starts for Popdock. I'm going to take a brief detour into add connectors just so that we can take a look. I told you I was going to show you about 60 connectors, and that's what's in this list. I told you that we had lots of ERPs, GP, BC, Acumatica, lots of ERPs in here. We've also got all the big CRMs. I've mentioned a couple of them so far. But I want you to take a look at some of this other stuff like Bitly or Bugsnag. Think about GitHub or HubSpot. All of these solutions that we maybe haven't considered from a smart list type standpoint. Now you can start to give your users access to that data in a way that they can start to build their own queries. Okay. Two of the most important ones for me personally are, these 60 are great. Maybe none of those apply to you. There are thousands of single purpose apps out there on the internet. There are thousands of custom databases out there in the world that people have built for their GP solution. So to answer the first part, we have this REST service. Now, there's a software solution called Postman, which deals with REST APIs out there on the internet. And they're telling me that 89% of the single purpose applications that are out there on the internet are using REST APIs as their method of integrating with them. So that means 89% of the internet you should be able to use as a Popdock data source. Okay, so anytime you look around your infrastructure, you've probably got some data out there that you can pull together into this type of environment. For all of those custom databases or maybe ISV solutions that you currently have on premise in a SQL Server, we do have a SQL Server connector that can connect to SQL Server, whether it's on-prem or out there on Azure. Um, Fill your boots. You can get to whatever data that you need to get to. All right, so hopefully that got some of your creative juices flowing when you think about, I've got this smart list tool now that I can apply to my whole business. I don't just have to talk to salespeople or finance people. Now let's go take a look at a GP connector. Now I'm going to be focusing on a few features that are specific to you, but most of everything I show you applies to every other connector that's out there. All of those 60 connectors I talked about, even the REST one, even the SQL Server one. Okay, the first thing is 100% customizable. Every field in here can be edited by you for you. So if you don't call them companies, you call them divisions, go ahead, knock your socks off. Okay, now, as I mentioned earlier, everything for us is list-based, just like your smart list. That's really, really where we live. We give you, in the case of GP, 94 lists out of the box. They're going to match pretty much what you got out of smart list in the first place. A couple of additions in there. If you have other basic lists that you would like to add, you have the ability to click on this add list here. Now from here, I can add any smart list I've built. So all of those custom smart lists you guys have built over the past however many years you've been on GP, those can all become Popdock lists now. Think about that. I can expose your custom smart list to everybody in your business who has access to the interweb. Okay, and it's really just a matter of clicking on this and clicking on add, and then it gets brought in as a Popdock list for you to share with others. Okay, we also have access to all of the SQL tables and views at both the company level and the system database level. Okay, now if it is at the company level, like I said, if you've been on GP for, well, I didn't say this earlier, but I say it a lot. If you've been on GP for more than a year, you've probably got half a dozen custom SQL views out there. So you can just go ahead and click on any of those SQL tables or views. And if you remember, I said we can make everything multi-company with 0 lines of code. All I have to do is say display for all companies here. And when I click on add, it'll bring that view in and it will be a multi-company list that easily. Okay, when we talk about adding lists, we also have these custom lists that we have available to you. Okay, and I showed you a couple of examples of these. For example, I showed you a merge list when I was inside Business Central, where I was merging data from my old solution to my new. But those don't only apply to that type of scenario. Think about online stores. A lot of folks will have multiple online stores associated with their business. Maybe they're all Shopify, but maybe there's a Shopify, a WooCommerce, and a Magento 2 out there in your infrastructure. You could have a merge list that brings together all the sales from all of those solutions, all of the cash collections from all of those solutions into single lists. And now you've got a full sales report, again, with 0 lines of code. In GP speak, a merge list, even just think about your GL transactions. They're posted in open years are saved in one table, posted transactions from closed years are in another. You can merge those to bring them together into a single list. Join list, anybody who's used any reporting tool, including Smart List Builder, has created joins in the past. Now, the cool thing about our join lists is they don't have to come from the same place. So you can, I've got a version of a list here I could show you that is joining Dynamics GP data with Dynamics CRM data so that I've got a total picture of that customer within a single list. Okay, restricting or summarizing data works a lot like they do in SmartList. So I can restrict data in a list. For example, I only want to have transactions for a particular division on this list. I can do that. Or I want to give a list of a chart of accounts that doesn't include any transactions to my payroll accounts. I can do that too. Okay, finally, compare list. It's a little more esoteric. My favorite example of this one is we had a partner a while ago who created a customization in GP to the project module. And for whatever reason, when they posted those transactions in the project module, they weren't making it through to the general ledger every time. So what we did was created a compare list that looked at all of the posted project transactions and compared it to all of the posted general ledger transactions, looking for project transactions that didn't exist in the general ledger. So that it took me longer to explain it than it took us to build it. And it gave them a reconciliation report right away where they were able to figure out A, what didn't work, B, what they had to fix, and C, what the partner had to fix about their code, because now we had quickly identified which transactions were broken. Okay, now just to quickly show you what one of these looks like, okay, to confirm my assertion that there's no code involved, all we're doing here is making choices. So I'm going to choose which list of data I'm pulling together. So maybe my employees table, okay, and then I'm going to add a list, which again, doesn't have to come from the same connector. So maybe I've got an online payroll solution that I want to join together here, or maybe I've got a vacation tracker that I built out there that I can use. Um, you know, many choices here for what I can join. But again, I'm just doing things like dropping down fields. Oops, let me choose. Okay, so I'm just dropping down lists and making choices to join my fields. Okay, then I'm going through and choosing which fields are going to be available. Now from here, I can also start to add calculated fields, right? So with my calculated fields, maybe I need to concatenate a first name and a last name, or maybe I need to figure out a gross margin. All of those things that you've done through SmartList for the past however many years, I can do that right here as a calculated field. Right down to setting up what are my default fields for any given list. Okay, again, restrictions, actions, all of those things are no code ways for you to control and manage and customize these lists. Okay, so from that standpoint, that's what we're able to do with all of our lists and custom lists and the way you're able to control those. Again, I could dig way in if I wanted to, but there's one more thing I want to show you before I throw it back to Mary. Okay, now this is maybe more for my technical friends out there, but one of the questions we get asked every time I show something cool, it doesn't matter. I was a GP consultant for many years. I would show Smart List, I would show any reporting tool. Now I show Popdock, and one of the first questions the accountant in the room asked me is, can I get this out to Excel? So there's actually two different answers to that. One I showed you earlier, I do have a quick and dirty export. So I narrow down my list of warehouse transactions and I send that to my bank or my manager or whatever it is, by quickly dropping it out to Excel. But sometimes I want to create a refreshable Excel report. Now I have the ability to share data from here, okay, through what we call an API endpoint. Now what that means is with no code involved, and choose a list, including a custom list, including maybe one that's merging GP and CRM data or one that's doing whatever. Okay, I can pull that list. Oops, let's choose one that has a proper name. So maybe my bill of materials list, and maybe I've got a favorite set up for ones that were just created this week. Okay, I can click here, and all I have to do is copy this link and paste that into my Excel workbook under Get Data or into my Power BI under Get Data. And I'm able to pull that data and create that refreshable report. And frankly, anywhere that can consume a REST API, so dynamic CRM, anything like that. Okay, so for those technical people who are paying attention, I just wrapped a REST API around my Dynamics GP data in about 3 seconds, and I was talking about it the whole time. Okay, so it's one more way that we can give you that external access to your data that's really been lacking from GP for a very long time. Okay, now Mary, I haven't been watching the queue. Have we had any questions come in while I've been going?
We've got a question, Rod, about using Power BI and Popdoc together. And I know you teach Power BI classes as well. So I'd like to hear from you what you think the best use case is there.
Sure thing. So Power BI, I do love Power BI. It's from a data visualization standpoint, I think it's one of the greatest inventions in my career so far. Is really easy to use, really easy to get data. Now, one of its drawbacks from my standpoint is when I want to mix and match data from other places, right? And the reason is, so think about my example I gave you earlier where I'm joining, if we take a look at this list, open opportunities, here I'm joining GP data with CRM data and combining it together. And there's lots of reasons that you might want to do that. Okay, so I'm getting, my opportunities here, but I'm also showing total sales last year for my ERP and total sales life to date for my ERP. Lots of reasons you might want to mix and match data like that.
Perfect.
With Power BI, it actually pulls data from the entire data set from both solutions that you're trying to pull data from. And then it does things like join it and filter it and calculated fields. Whereas with Popdoc, we're actually pre-filtering the data. We're much more efficient at pulling that data back. So when you mix and match Popdoc and Power BI, you get really rich, simple ability to pull your data out of wherever it is, combined with a really rich, deep visualization experience. So yeah, we definitely don't think we're a competitor for Power BI. We don't think Power BI is a competitor for us. We do think the two tools work beautifully together.
Perfect. We've got another question in here. Do you need everyone to be a GP user for this? And I can answer that. And it's no. You don't have to have a GP license or consume a concurrent GP user license to be able to use your GP data in Popdoc. And that's really part of the beauty of the entire solution. Someone can come in here and never touch GP, have a login to GP, or have to understand how that system works and start pulling back the data here. I was actually talking with a customer just the other day who was super excited about this because they have several people that log into GP every single day purely to run a smart list builder list and then dump it to Excel. And now they can just come into Popdoc, run their list right here when they need it. And actually, they're going to go a step farther and not even come into Popdoc, but use our scheduling feature to have it emailed in an Excel report to them each morning. So they just get exactly what they need without having to do anything. Um,
Here's a question we have for you.
oh, sure.
One of our clients was asking, they currently use Laserfish as one of their document management system. Does PopDoc able to connect to Laserfish and be able to pull data out of Laserfish?
So Laserfish does have a REST API. I've looked at that in the past. I'll be honest, I looked at it from a Smart Connect perspective, but their API does have a number of get data endpoints, so we should be able to use it as a resource for PopDoc.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Alrighty. Well, this might be a good point for me to take back over and talk to you a little bit about how licensing works for PopDoc and a really great offer that we have for customers that already use SmartList Builder, which is an eOne solution. And I'm sure this will spawn some more questions as well as we go through. So I'll quickly touch on how licensing works for PopDoc. It is a cloud-based solution, so we're talking about a monthly flat rate price each month. We have three different tiers: basic, business, and premium. Basic is exactly what it sounds like, just includes a few users and has some limited functionality there. Business includes up to 20 people inside the PopDoc web app, like Rod showed you. So 20 people going in there, building and running lists and doing all of that great stuff. But you get unlimited widget users in every tier. So if you are putting your Popdoc widget in SharePoint, in a CRM system, or just anywhere that you want your users to be able to look at that, that's unlimited. And then in Premium, we include some additional features, like being able to do the scheduling service and things like that. But what you might notice in here is that Popdoc includes Smart List Builder and Smart View access. So if you're an existing Smart List Builder user, there is an offer for you to move to a bundle price to be able to use this solution. So let me touch on that for just a second here. And I would love to know if you're a Smart List Builder user, you can use the little reaction button up there um, in the Teams bar and do a hand raise or something if you're using Smart List Builder, because I'd love to know how many people we've got on here that use that. But if you're using Smart List Builder, you've been paying your annual renewal price every year, probably in conjunction with your GP renewal. You can get a 40% discount on this Popdoc bundle for 3 years. So what that means is you're going to retain your Smart List Builder access. You're going to retain Smart View access if you have that. If you don't have Smart View, we're going to throw it into the bundle so that you could use that as well if you have a use case there for people wanting to view some stuff on premise as well. And you're gonna get Popdoc. So all of those features that Rod just showed you. So you're getting all three. You get unlimited support for the products because we want you to feel comfortable using them and working with Turnkey and our team on them. And you get a free training pass for Popdoc. So you can come and get trained at one of our boot camps and be able to really use the solution. There is going to be a price increase later this year on SmartList Builder AEP. So it definitely makes sense to take advantage of this offer if you're interested in using Popdoc and move over before December 1st. And Turnkey can help you evaluate if this is the right move for you and help you get the pricing and move your licensing over. This I just think is a really good visual for you to think about what you're going to get if you were to move to this bundle. So you can see over there on the side here, we've got Smart List Builder and all of our GP only functionality. Same thing with Smart View. It's great functionality, but it's only for GP. With the bundle, you're getting both of those and then all of this Popdoc functionality as well. So you can start connecting with all the other systems you have, make it a lot easier for non-GP users to get at this data and combine it with some of the other information that you have, and of course, put it exactly where you need it. So something really great to think about. I think we're going to send these slides out after as well, and they'll be the recording of the session, so you can always go back and take a look at all this information as well. Do we have any additional questions here in the chat? Let's take a look. Ooh, we've got a couple SmartList Builder users, which is great. Just give everyone a second here. We've got a question about scheduling, Rod, and the different types of formats that can be sent out on a schedule. Is that just Excel at this point, or would we have the PDF option as well?
So we can send a PDF, but very much like exporting a smart list to Word, you would want to use that judiciously. So we are still sending lists of data fit better into a CSV or Excel. Um, but if you had a smaller list that fits nicely into a PDF layout, then you can send it in PDF as well.
Perfect. I see we also have a question here. Does this replace my financial reporting package? It's kind of a loaded question there.
It does not. So it doesn't replace your financial reporting tool any more than SmartList replaces your financial reporting tool. So, as you've seen throughout the features we've shown, we are more leaning towards a SmartList type experience, whereas a financial reporting tool is really fixated on laying out your report a particular way. It's got certain financial reporting requirements that aren't met by most list-based reporting tools. Things like same period last year comparisons, same period last month comparisons, stuff like that. Um, that really don't lend itself well. That said, it's a great support to your financial reporting solution. In the same way that SmartList always has been, as well as the 6 other things that you currently have supporting your financial statements, maybe reports from your billing solution or whatever. Now, all of those could be brought into Popdoc, and now you're replacing
Mhm.
those supporting tools as opposed to the financial report itself.
Absolutely. I think Popdock really shines when we're talking about ad hoc reporting and being able to get a quick piece of information or a specific piece of information that you're looking for rather than a really large, beautifully formatted financial statement. Sorry, Michael, do we have another question?
No, just got a question, I guess. Do
Sure.
you have any examples you can show about how you're using, so how somebody could use Popdock with Power BI? I'm just curious if you guys had an example that
So
enhances this
I
Power
I
BI.
we I do examples in training. I don't have one set up that I could easily demo. Um,
Rod, do
Okay.
we have a
yeah,
little pre-recorded video on that?
I believe there is. We'll double check that, and if there isn't, I'll get one put together for you.
Yeah,
It's a quick process.
I think we've got one. Michael, we'll send that over
Perfect.
after here for you to take a look at.
Or you can just put it in the link too. Somebody else might
Perfect.
be curious too.
Sure.
100%.
All righty. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat, but we've had some good ones here. Um, for next steps on this, if you're interested, you can please reach out to me or your
I have another
turnkey.
question.
Oh,
Will
I
That's an
see
E1
that.
important
phase
one,
out?
Mary.
Will E1 phase out smart list down the road?
No, we will not. That's a big question. We are not going to do that. Smart List Builder will continue to be Smart List Builder. So will SmartView. We will always update them in conjunction with GP. It's still a great product, and it's still a product that we sell and people know and love, and we'll never get rid of it. Popdock, I think, really supplements that, especially where Rod talked about you being able to pull your existing smart list builder list into Popdock and just give access to more people. It doesn't always make a whole lot of sense for non-GP users and just non-finance people to be in GP. So we can make those smart list builder lists work harder for you by using them with Popdock. These are all great questions, and I'm excited that people's wheels are turning here. We have the option for you to get a personalized demo with Turnkey and with our team, so you can talk at length about your use cases and what you have going on in your environment. We also have free trials of Popdock. We would love for you to set up a free trial with us. We'll give you a little guidance before you get going, and we'll start helping you guys build some things out and maybe a little proof of concept as well. We have tons of resources like more short videos as well. I will make sure that Turnkey gets that link to all of those so you guys can take a look at just some smaller pieces of functionality and how other things work too. All right. Well, Thomas, Diane, that's all we have for today.
All
Hey,
right.
thanks, Mary.
Yeah, and I know that we've been asking questions as we've been going through, right? Lots of great questions today. Let's take just a couple minutes here. If you have any questions that you could think of, feel free to put them in the chat.
Hey, for non-users, if you give people Popdocs, how refreshable are the lists? If I'm a GP user putting new information in, and I've got other non-users, and I'm hitting the same type of data, how fast is a refresh?
I mean, it's as fast as a smart list would be. We're reaching into that data source in real time, um, and there's a gateway brokering that communication, so it's pretty quick.
Okay.
We have companies with much more than 9 users using it, and we're not getting complaints.
Okay, excellent.
Thanks,
Any
Rod.
other questions? All right. Mary and Rod, we appreciate your time today. Great presentation. Loved it. And we'll be in touch. If anybody wants to reach out to our sales, Michael Ramatowski, feel free to contact us. We can set up a time for you to do a little bit more one-on-one demo with eOne Solutions. Thanks, Mary and Rod.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for having us. Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah,
Right.
thanks again, Mary and Rod.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. And now we are going to take a 15-minute break. So anybody that was planning on joining us for the dynamic tips and tricks with Turnkey's favorite features at 11 o'clock, feel free to refresh your coffee, use the restroom. We'll be back on at 11 o'clock.